Hello, I am David W. Parker. This is Programming Today I Learned 3D Math Series, episode 43. We're going to be continuing to work out code for matrix. This is part 2. We have several things we're looking at. Multiplication, scalar and via matrix, as well as vector, transposition, inverse, and the determinant, the transpose. So let's go ahead and dive in and take a look at what we got going. So we have an array that's going to represent our matrix here. We're going to go ahead and create it with the function that we made in the last episode. And then we're going to go ahead and figure out the determinant. And so let's go take a look. So if we scroll down here, we can see that as we get down to the determinant, this is from episodes 19 and 20. And so if you want to recall what that is, you can take a look. We are only going to compute the 3x3 portion of the determinant, which is this function right here. That's because we only need the 3x3 for what we are doing with our 3D mathematics. So if you need to recall what that is, go ahead and watch episodes 19 and 20 again and figure it out. Next up, we're going to do the inverse. As you could recall, the determinant is basically a scalar. So when you're taking a look at this returns the scalar. Alternatively, when we look at the inverse, we're basically going to figure out that we have to compute the entire thing here. So let me close that out. So you can see that we're going to compute, and we're actually going to make this into a new matrix and return that new matrix. Sometimes you may want to return a new matrix. Sometimes you may want to override the existing one. In this case, because we're using so many of these values in line, we don't want to override it as we go, and so we're just going to return a new one for this for the inverse. So you can see here is the inverse calculated out. I'm printing out the each line as its own. So this is the first column, and then the next, and then the next. So our first row, mind you. So that's kind of it for that. Again, we're not computing that last the W in this because we don't need to. So next up, scalar multiplication. Again, we're just taking that initial array, and then we're going to go ahead and scale it by a single scalar, 2, and print that out. So you can see it's here 8420, 6612, 0, etc., etc., which is just everything multiplied by 2 within this array. It's kind of simple, and we're doing this inline, and we're just returning that so we can chain it. Scalar vectors, episode 10, so that was episode 8. Episode 10, we have each of these scaled by its corresponding vector component. So that's also pretty simple. So we're going to be scaling by 1, 1, and 3. So as you can see here, these are all the same, but the last one are multiplied by 3. Again, very simple stuff. Multiplication, we have this whole big spiel here. We're actually only going to create a multiply in here and do the first 4 by 3 as well, because we don't need that last row as it is currently. So here's the multiplied out solution to that. Pretty simple stuff. Again, if you want to go ahead and recall how to do this, this is in episode 9. Otherwise, you can take my word for it and know that this is a formula that works. Again, we're multiplying this out and putting it into a new matrix that we're going to be exporting to. Last up here, we have our transposition, and we are just basically going to transpose this matrix. And this is basically means flipping it. We're going to do it in line, but in order to do it in line, because of changing values and we needing those values, we can't just flip everything on the fly. So we're going to cache a few values that we'll use later on. And that's it for this episode. If you liked what you saw, go ahead and subscribe and give a like. Share on social media if you will. Go to ProgrammingTIL.com and sign up for my newsletter. Thanks.